Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Prestige Estates Projects Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by Axis Capital Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Samar Sarda from Axis Capital Limited. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks Malika and good afternoon everyone. So today again we are represented by the senior management of Prestige Estates Projects, Mr. Razak, the Chairman and Managing Director, Venkat and Amit Mor, the CFO. Can I request Mr. Razak for his initial comments, please?
Hi, Samar, and hi everyone. I think we've got a lot of people on the call. It's once again a pleasure to be on this call and give us our insights on the last quarter's performance. You've seen the numbers. I think with the two months plus lockdown, the teams have done an amazing job to see the sales that we did. We are pretty pleased with it because just with virtual meetings and everything else, we managed to clock 735 crores. Even the collections also, though we had some, our own internal doubts, we crossed the 1,000 crore mark. And the good part is that in spite of the lockdown and opening up, I think the current quarter also, the traction has picked up superbly well. And the business has come back to usual. That was the March quarter numbers, and I think we are looking at something very positive. And I think even on the leasing side, this month there has been a lot of traction, and we are closing deals. It's just not about discussion or whatever. We've signed LOIs, we've signed agreements, and so that's giving us a lot of courage. And I think all in all, we are all pretty focused to keep doing our job. And there are a lot of launches in the pipeline. Apart from during the lockdown period, of course, there were no launches. And completions also, we just completed two small projects, and those are both in Bangalore. And many more are in the pipeline for completion. So I think the teams have worked hard in spite against all odds. The only disclaimer that I can do is that in case there's a third wave or in case there are any more lockdowns, which will affect business. But otherwise, if things are even in this condition, I think we are good to go. Even hospitality has picked up the green shoots. You can see people are already having their events and everything else, and the occupancies are slowly rising, though there's no international travel, which will take some more time. But otherwise, there is no cash loss at the moment in the month of July, more July rather than June. So things are good. We'll see how things pan out as we go along. And I think I want Venkat to add up whatever comments he wants to.
Thank you, Samar. Thank you, sir. And welcome everyone to post-results conference call. Quickly, let me take you through the operational highlights, financial highlights, and other significant important things that we have done during the quarter. As the chairman was mentioning, the operational highlights, we had overall pre-sales of 734 crores of new sales during this quarter. That most of them in spite of lockdown and virtually interacting with the customers. Collections are over 1,000 crores, 1,022 crores. So if you look at the mix of sales, the just launched projects, the project that we have launched in the last 6 months gave us 26% of new sales. Ongoing projects we sold on 33%. 41% of the pre-sales have come from the completed projects. And in terms of geography split, close to 80% have come from Bangalore, and the rest from the other regions that we operate in, Hyderabad, Kochi and Chennai. Going forward, Q3, we have launches lined up in other regions other than the South Indian region that we are present right now. That is Mumbai. We will look at launching in Q3. Prestige Jasdan Classic, that is at Byculla. Prestige Daffodils at Pali Hills. and Prestige Cosmos at Mulund. These three projects are on the final leg of approval, and we are confident that Q3, subject to no lockdowns being there, we'll be able to launch. That's like adding a new geography to our business. Likewise, Prestige Bougainville Gardens, which is a residential development in Sector 150 of Noida, they're also in last leg of approval, and we should be able to launch that project as well in Q3. So these two new regions will get added. We'll have 4 projects in terms of residential outside of South India by Q3. And major projects that contributed to the sales are Prestige Park Drive, Prestige Waterford, Prestige Finsbury Park, Prestige Golf Share, Leela Residences, Tranquil in Hyderabad, Zindal City, which is the ongoing project, and Royal Gardens, so on and so forth. Also, if I have to give you one more parameter in yardstick, the sales have come from 75% of the sales have come from the unit pricing, units costing less than a crore, and 21% of the sales have come from 1 crore to 2 crores, and the rest of them are above 2 crores. Moving on from operational highlights to financial highlights. During the quarter, we had total revenue of 1,473 crores, EBITDA of 403 crores, and PAT of 92.5 crores. The revenue recognitions have come from various projects. To name significant ones, that is the White Meadows, Leela Residences, Golf Shire, which is a completed project, and one pre-sale of commercial building that we had done, which is to Adobe. So these contributed to the revenue recognition during the quarter. And in terms of construction spend, overall, if you look at out of collections, we had spent during the quarter towards residential projects and commercial projects that were meant for sale, close to 632 crores. We had towards commercial capex projects 151 crores, the retail projects that are ongoing 71 crores, and the hospitality 57 crores. Overall, we had spent during the quarter on construction 911 crores. So this is the brief about the pre-sales that we have done operationally and financial update and the revenue recognition. In addition, during the quarter under review, we concluded the transaction that we are pursuing with the NCLT. We have paid money and taken the position. That is project at Mulund, which is named as Prestige Cosmos. With this brief, I would like to open the forum for the question and answer.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Abhidev from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. So a few rental business related questions. Now, firstly, if I'm referring to your business segment review, that is slide number 5 of the presentation, the capital employed on ongoing projects, the number has gone up from 2,700 crores in Q3, right, to almost 4,700 crores now. This is the capital WIP. So could you please help us understand which projects has contributed to this 2,000 crores increase in last 6 months?
One second, let me get the slide out.
Yeah.
So referring to Abhidev is slide number 5?
Yeah, sir. Slide number 5, the footnote which is there, right? Capital employed excludes amount spent on ongoing capex projects. The third note in the footnotes, point number 3.
3273. You are referring to 3273?
No, sir, slide 5, 47524. Capital employed.
Capital employed excludes amount spent on ongoing capex projects and related debt of 47,524 and 11,424 million respectively. That's the footnote.
So those are basically amounts invested for the Mumbai project, ICD is given as well as...
Sir, voice is a little feeble. Hello?
No, actually I think this is just a little futuristic. This is actually the office, whatever has been employed, the first line only. You please read. That last line, I think Venkat will explain.
See, apart from whatever we have mentioned in the office segment, which are for the ongoing projects, Aditya, are you with me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There are more monies that we have spent towards office, and those projects are not yet yielding projects.
Yeah, so this 2,000 crores is mainly Mumbai, this delta, about 2,700 crores into 4,700 crores.
Partly, yes.
Could be Mumbai, it could be some the hotel project and office and hotel project in Delhi. But then it's a combination of, even in Bengaluru also we paid 150 crores to this landmark. So it's a combination of a whole lot of things which we are now work in progress. But those will come for construction maybe in the next 2 quarters.
Okay. So and just another follow-up on our upcoming project. So there was an article in media saying that we are planning to spend around 3,500 crores in Mumbai. I think a 43-story tower in BKC and a 63-story tower in...
Abhidhev, so there's a disturbance coming from your line.
Yeah. Is it better now?
I can hear you clearly.
Yeah. So continue, sir. There was an article in media a couple of days back that we intend to spend 3,500 crores for our Mumbai commercial projects, which includes a 43-story tower in BKC and 63-story tower in Mahalakshmi. Sir, could you just give us some color? Have the development plans been finalized, and do we have the height approvals and other approvals in place over there for the Mahalakshmi and the BKC commercial projects? Thank you. Hello?
The line for the management is disconnected. Kindly stay on the line till I reconnect them.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the management line reconnected to the call. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, hello. Okay, sorry we got cut off.
Yeah.
The question that you asked was 3,500 crores. You read the media report. Now that's the overall spend that is there over the next 5 to 6 years. It's not going to be spent today itself because we are doing this Liberty Towers. It's a 270-meter height building, the one tower and the other is shorter. There are 2 towers there and overall about 2.5 million square feet of leasable, rentable or saleable area. Then the other is in BKC 1 and 2, that's called Prestige 101. And there again we have about 4 million plus. Now we've got a phase 1, phase 2. So this media report is to say that if everything of that is completed, and it's not going to get completed overnight, so that's the overall spend that is required, and that spend will go for more than 5 years, maybe 6 or even 7 years. That's the whole thing. The average spend per year will be about 500 crores.
Okay. And sir, so just a bookkeeping question, what is the total amount invested till date across these 2 projects, the BKC and Mahalakshmi?
I don't have the number offhand. I think Venkat can share it with you. What's happened is, if you ask me what is my commitment in turf, that is in Liberty Towers, is 500 crores refundable deposit, and in case the refund doesn't come, we'll get extra space. And my commitment in BKC 1 is 300 for phase 1 and 325 for phase 2. That is a non-refundable. So this is my commitment, and in case any other payment apart from that, it will be more towards acquiring some space at a certain number, which is beneficial to company in the long term.
Between BKC 1 and 2 as well as turf, all put together, we have invested close to 700 crores so far.
Okay, 700 crores so far. Okay, sir, I'll come back in the queue if I have more questions. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, would request you to rejoin. The next question is from the line of Puneet from HSBC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So my first question is on the FSI premium exemption that Government of Maharashtra is giving. Would you be able to make use of that for your projects this year, or do you think you'll be needing to buy that only in future years?
No, that's a very good question. As far as FSI premium reduction for both the office projects, that's the BKC and Mahalakshmi, is the responsibility of the landowner. So whatever benefit that comes will accrue to them. But we do have 3 other projects which we are doing, which is Cosmos, which is Western Classic, as well as Daffodils. These are the 3 residential projects. We are taking the full benefit of the reduction in the premium.
Okay, understood. And any color on why the net debt went up on a quarter-on-quarter basis?
Primarily because of, we use the cash balance to acquire new projects. Number one, the major project payment that we have done, the new project we have added is Aristo. That is now named as Prestige Cosmos. Close to 370 crores of money has gone towards that. And there are the new land acquisition that we have done in Bangalore, which is called now Prestige Landmark at Hebbal. We have invested in land parcel at a place called Logistic Park towards Dabbaspet. And we have invested to purchase the land in for plotted development, which is going to be launched soon, Prestige Marigold Hills. And there is a JD project that we have tied up with our existing landowners. So these are the projects mostly towards acquiring new projects is where the money has gone. In that, major payment is almost close to half of it is towards Prestige Cosmos in Mumbai, Mulund.
And what is the launch plan for this year?
All the 3 projects Mr. Razak was mentioning just now with respect to premiums, that is Prestige Western Classic Byculla, Prestige Daffodils Pali Hills, and Prestige Cosmos at Mulund. All 3 will be Q3 launches.
And for other cities like Bangalore?
Bangalore, some of these projects will get launched. 2-3 of them will be by Q4.
Okay. So 2-3 million square feet by Q4 other than these 3 in Mumbai?
Yes.
Understood. That's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kunal Lakhan from CLSA. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. My first question was on our pre-sales guidance of 6,500 crore for FY22. Now, how much of this is dependent on the Mumbai launches?
We are looking at least 20% of the sales to come from 15 to 20% from Mumbai and NCR. We're quite confident. Otherwise, also we got a lot of launches in Bangalore. So, as Chairman was mentioning, is subject to no lockdown being there. We believe that it's achievable target.
So is lockdown the only hurdle, or where are we on the approval side here?
Primarily. So other than that, approval-wise, we're almost there. The last leg of approvals, most of them, and after that, RERA. That's why we said Q3.
Okay, fair enough. My second question was on the commercial side again. So these two projects put together, what is the capex again? If you can remind us, totally 3,500 crores across these two. And how much will be our share again?
So the entire construction cost will be ours.
Okay.
So broadly,
cost is the landowner.
Yeah. So broadly the construction cost is 3,500 crores across these 3 projects.
And we would have a 50% stake in both of these, right?
6 million square foot, 3 million square foot belongs to us.
Okay, got it. And sorry, one last question from my side. Also, on the Aristo deal, 3.7 billion we have paid so far, and what is the balance payment here? And again, if you can refresh our memory on the deal, 6 million square feet is the total saleable area, and about 1 odd million square feet is something that we have to hand over to the developers, and there is some payment of which partly we have done 3.7 billion. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the deal terms, Kunal, just to recapitulate, 370 crores of upfront payment and 850,000 commercial area, built up area to be given to COC, these two. Of that, 370 crores we have paid. The remaining, in 3 years' time, we'll have to build and give it off to consortium of creators. Other than that, remaining area is the saleable area.
And there is no further cash payment. 370 crores is all the cash payment?
That's all. There is no further cash payment.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Murtuza Arsiwala from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, so a lot of my questions have been answered. Just a couple. On Mumbai, could you just give us a status on when do you see sort of project execution starting across these projects? I understand we've been pushed back by a quarter, but generally, if you could give us a color on project execution. And just to clarify, the almost about 900 crore of quarter-on-quarter increase in net debt would be largely attributable to Cosmos, and the remainder would be land purchases, as you said.
Yes, as I mentioned, close to 50% of it towards Cosmos, and the balance is towards various other lands that we have purchased are given as a deposit. Okay, and as far as the Mumbai projects are concerned, 6 of them, 3 of them are residential, which we spoke of Q3 being launched. In that, Prestige Resident Classic work has already commenced. So the other 3, turf, we have started the rehab tower already. And as far as BKC phase 1 first project is concerned, the land is cleaned up. We are waiting for the approval. Phase 2 will start maybe by Q4 or early next year. Hello?
Yeah, thank you so much.
And then I see the jobs, all the jobs which are now construction, even Cosmos has been handed over to L&T. The Resident Classic is also being done by L&T. The work is going on pretty good. Execution-wise, I think we've done well. We were just waiting for a conveyance deed to happen before we registered for Resident for RERA. Now that will happen sometime this week. Once that's done, we are ready to. Once the RERA number is received, we'll be ready to start marketing that, including daffodils, including Cosmos. I think by next quarter, we'll be having a lot of projects in Mumbai to market.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Hello? What happened?
Hello?
Mr. Arsiwala, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thanks. I missed that. So good afternoon, everyone. Venkat, I just wanted to double check. You had earlier mentioned that your net gearing upper limit is going to be 0.5. Is there any change to that, given all the business development that's going on in the upcoming capex?
No change, Samir. We'll stick to what we have guided.
Okay, great. And second question, I don't know if you have briefed earlier. Any update on the phase 2 of the BX deal?
Phase 2 will get completed this quarter.
Okay, and that would mean 1,600 crores of enterprise value comes in?
One asset we have, we may not be doing it now. One Prestige Tech Pacifica we have taken out of the transaction. So to that extent, it will get reduced. The other four assets will be part of the transaction.
Okay, so what's the deal value now?
Around 1,300 crores.
Okay, great. And just one or two more, if I may. Any thoughts on, unlocking value in two of your larger land parcels, one in Bidadi and the other in Goa?
Currently, we are not thinking about any of those. Bidadi will be a great land parcel as we move ahead because Bangalore to Mysore connectivity is becoming 8-lane road. So, that will hopefully become a project in the next fiscal. Goa, there is some land-related issues that we are sorting out, post which we will do a development there.
Okay, great. Thanks. One final, if I may, and that is on the housing demand in general. We heard your comments about, the strength in the demand and it continuing in second quarter. So just taking a broader term view, maybe a year, 2 year out, is this a new big residential upcycle that's coming? So your thoughts on that, what's driving this, and how you want to capitalize on this?
The upcycle has already come and there is a lot of momentum. But along with that, there's also consolidation that's happening. It's not that everybody is doing well or everybody is doing bad. People who have consistently delivered are the people who are selling today. And fortunately, we are one of those. And as far as I see, this demand will be sustained. It will keep growing. And since we've got now newer markets, I believe the revenues will keep going up. When I say revenues, I mean sales, because of course revenues will be booked only on completion as per the accounting standards today. All in all, now we are now getting ready to launch a very large development in Bengaluru called Prestige City, and there's a huge traction for it, huge interest for it. We are just waiting for the RERA numbers and then waiting for the right timing, in the sense getting everything together and make a big bang launch. Similarly, even in Noida, we are just waiting for approvals. I think the moment we get that, we've got a lot of interest even there. We are very positive. According to me, there is a lot of interest. Now, see, even we had a project which we just completed about a year ago, which is Prestige Lakeside Habitat, which are 3,500 homes and 272 villas. Everything is sold. It got completed last year. Whatever inventory that was remaining with us is 100% sold. Not even one single unit is available for a project of that scale. End to end, from greenfield to completion, we took not more than 4.5 years, and then probably another overflow of maximum a year. So with that, it's all done, dusted. Most of the money is almost collected, and we're out of the project. So that gives us courage to do projects of this scale. And people also like projects of scale because they're getting that much more open space, that much more facilities, and they're getting a very, what I would call an environment which is an enclosed and a clean environment, especially now in these uncertain times of COVID. So they have a very protected environment, which is, I think, the order of the day. The smaller buildings will always have a bit of a problem. Even our luxury development, Prestige Godshire, where we had a bit of a stress in between. Now even that has selling off, and I think in the next 2 quarters will be fully sold out. There won't be a single unit, and then whoever has bought will be the beneficiary because there will be a pressure on the price. The demand is going quite unabated.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Khetan from Laburnum Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Just wanted to confirm, when do you plan to launch Smart City in Bangalore and Highline in Chennai?
See, now it's called the Prestige City. We took off the name Smart because it's a smart word is being used very loosely. So we're just calling it the Prestige City. And just waiting for the RERA number. We have applied for it. As I said, as soon as we get that, there's a huge traction because it's got some 3 components. One is the plotted component, then there's the villa component, and then we also have the apartments. And apart from that, we also have the retail mall. Of course, the mall will start construction simultaneously. It will get ready in the next 3 years. But all approvals are in place. Everything is in place. Infrastructure work on site is going on in full swing. So if everything falls in place by, say, either this month end or the first week of September, we should launch it.
Got it. And what about Highline in Chennai?
Highline in Chennai, we just got the last, there was approval that needed to come. There was some shifting of some nala and things like that. So that approval is also received. Now the plan, since it was a big lag between then and now, there's again some thinking that has happened. So we've redone all the plans. We've cleared the plans now. I think it's getting tweaked a bit further and the architects have to do their job. It'll get logged in about a week or 10 days into CMDA, and it depends on how soon the approvals come in. And even that project we are on. And now I think the timing is also right. Even the Chennai market is starved. There's no new big projects in Chennai, so this will be quite a welcoming one for Chennai.
Got it, got it. And I missed this, I think. What is the size of the Daffodils project in Pali Hills?
Daffodils is a very small, it's a tiny project, but of course the values are very high because the selling price is much higher there. Overall, I think we'll have about 30,000 square feet to sell. 32 apartments. 32 apartments. I mean, say about 50,000 square feet we'll have to sell. 32 apartments are there, and I think it's about 50,000 square feet or 55,000 square feet. Yeah, 58,000. That's what Venkat says. So that's what we'll be left with. But that's also approval. Everything is there. We've already paid the fees for the reduced charges. And the JDA will be signed in the next day or so. So it's all on track.
Sure. Thank you very much. And all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishabh Parekh from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, congratulations on a really good set of numbers, especially considering the circumstances. I had just one question. In the upcoming residential segment cash flow slide, we have increased our estimated value quarter on quarter from 16,500 crores to about 23,000 crores. I'm assuming this is because Cosmos came online. However, the cost of development hasn't changed, so it is still at about 10,600 crores. So I just wanted to get a sense on why that is. Thanks.
Sorry. So in the residential segment slide, you're talking about the receivables of 7,000 crores or balance to spend, upcoming.
No, the upcoming slide number 9, the cost of development is the same as last quarter. However, the value has gone up by about 7,000 crores. So just wanted to understand why the cost of development is still the same.
Cosmos, I think, has been added. The budgets are getting frozen. So therefore, the budgeted cost is not figuring there.
So what would be the approximate cost of development at Cosmos?
Sir, approximately 4,000 rupees plus will be the cost of per square foot construction cost.
Right.
2,000 crores. 2,700 crores.
Got it. Okay, that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Ranganathan from Doric Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the time. Just to get some more clarity on your Mumbai launches. So when you say the approvals are in progress and you're waiting mainly for RERA, could you exactly say what could, if let's say you're not able to launch in Q3, what would have been the reason? What is the biggest risk to these 3 projects not being launched in Q3?
The plan was to launch in Q3 only. So that's how we have been planning. So therefore, we are pretty much on target to launch this project.
No, I understand. What I mean is, if from here to Q3 is not very long time away, it's just 3 months. So yes. If for some reason it were to be delayed, what are the main risks that you foresee that it might happen?
It's not in Q3, it will happen in Q4. We are very confident that it will happen in Q3. There is no major risk per se in any of these projects. So, we are availing, as we discussed earlier, premium benefits, which means all plan submissions, etc., have to go by 19th of August. All will be submitted, and we are confident that we'll get the approvals and we'll be able to launch. So the only risk could be if they don't come through, it will get pushed. Launches will get pushed to next quarter.
And from a marketing perspective, given that you've set 3 fairly large projects to be launched in a short period of time in Mumbai, how have we developed our network of marketing channels in Mumbai, which is a new market for us?
I mean, see, the region may be different. This is something which we've been doing over and over. We are originally from Bangalore. We started here, headquartered here. We did when we expanded to Chennai. We have a processes, we have a system. We build a strong sales team. We also network with the channel partners. We also look at Mumbai's little fragmented market. We look at that region, that particular micro market, who are the people whom we have to partner with, channel partners who have got a better reach, who can get us better sales. So all this work has been done, and whenever we expand into be it Hyderabad, be it Chennai, be it Kochi, any city, we have done it. Of course, Mumbai is a little larger. We've got a game plan. We are at it. I think maybe it will be a mix of channel partners as well as direct sales.
See, we have also developed a good team for Mumbai. They are all in place, and as soon as it's only, see, it's unlike the old days where you could start selling without RERA. So now everything has to be in place, and RERA number has to be in place. So even particularly this Just Done, we delayed our getting the RERA number purposely because we said let some confidence come in the buyer's mind. Since we're a new player there, we said let some concrete start getting poured. Now the foundations have happened for both the blocks, and that if we register now and sell that now, people will have confidence and definitely will sell. Now Cosmos is a project which was already stalled. It had approvals in place. Now it has to be only renewed, and the necessary premiums have to be paid. In fact, in the earlier days, they used to pay premiums as you built. Now, since there's a rebate being allowed, we are paying the full premium and taking the benefit of the discount, which is half of it. So that's a big benefit. So we are paying it up front. So there's no more question marks on that. And I believe even that project will take off almost immediately. Good bandwidth. We've got a good team, and I don't see any reason why there should be any stress in the system to market.
Okay. And the Blackstone project, phase 2, has been delayed. I mean, you expected it earlier in the year, and now it's still not done. What has been the issue there? And now you're saying one of the...
For me, the lockdown issues, sir, the lawyers were not working, the government officers were not working, because you see, when you want the due diligence process that happens, especially for land, there's a whole lot of encumbrance certificates and certified copies and khatas, all those things that you have to apply for and get from the various departments. Since everything was on slow mode, also including the lawyers, it took a little longer. But I see that this current quarter, that deal should get closed in its entirety. And I don't see any doubts on that. And that will be the, sort of beginning of a new era with Blackstone, because we are doing some under construction deals with them, which they will be our 50% shareholders. And that will also give us a huge, boost into our system, and it will help us to do it quickly and go to the next step.
Last question from me. One of the assets you're not transferring, roughly about 300 crores worth, if you could give some more color on that. And also, last year when you first introduced the deal, you had mentioned that there's a potential upside of about 1,000 crores if certain things were to happen. Could you give us an update on where we are on that?
So these that are not part of Blackstone were concerned in phase 2. One is a small asset called Polygon in Chennai, and there is the other asset called Tech Pacifica, which is now the ring road of Bangalore, which originally we contemplated to make as part of the phase 2 transaction. Now we are not doing those. We are wanting to keep those assets. And the second question that you mentioned, I didn't quite follow. Do you mind repeating?
There was a potential upside to the deal value if certain conditions were to be met. There was some excess land. I forget the details in terms of there's some excess land in some of the project. or something like that, which you said if it had happened, then the deal value would go up?
No. There is nothing of the sort. See, this transaction is split into two parts. Phase 1, which we completed in March, which is almost 82% of the total transaction value. And this is the phase 2 that we are talking about right now, 4 assets. There is nothing like there's a, arbitrary, some variable number that have been plugged in. Nothing at that I can recollect. So it's a signed deal term, which is even shared with everybody, filed with SEBI. So we are going accordingly, according to the plan.
All right. Thank you very much and wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parikshit Kandpal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So my first question is on, you mentioned that you have invested something for acquiring for the logistics park. So if you can just clarify what is this, is it a new segment which we are adding, and what is the business case out here?
So we already have a logistics and warehousing park at a place called Malur. Now, in addition to that, we have picked up 2 new land parcels and 2 different parts of the city. One is towards a place called Dabaswet, other is towards Malur again. So, these are in, one is in design stage, acquired, and the other one is we are completing the acquisition process. So with this, we will have 3 parks. Idea is to given the potential to explore the opportunities in the logistics, warehousing, and industrial parks.
And how big will be the developable area here, combine all 3 put together, all 3 land parcels?
Big. This is around 30 plus acres.
35 acres?
Yeah.
All 3 put together, you said. Earlier you had 1 land parcel in Malur, and then you said another 2 parcels here.
Just give me a moment. So 200 plus.
100 acres?
Yeah.
And in terms of million square feet, how much is this be rented?
$2.5 million.
Okay, $2.5 million. Okay. My second question is on the Mulund project, Cosmos. So you said that 370 crores you have paid out this quarter, and you will develop about 0.85 million square feet worth of commercial area, and you will hand it over to the lenders, right? So,
Yes.
This 0.85 million square feet will encompass how much of capex? Intend how much of capex? Is it like 5,000 rupees a square feet?
Which one? Cost?
You said 0.85 million square feet, the commercial area will be handed over to the lenders. So how much of capex will be incurred to build out this area?
Around 4,000 to 4,500 rupees a square foot.
Okay. And besides that, is there any other liabilities, any debt you have assumed on this project, or the entire 6 million, so 1 million goes roughly to lenders, so balance 5 million will be the total developable area of the share. So what will be the debt?
No other liabilities.
No other liabilities, and the resolution has happened, no other claims or any bank, so everything is clear now, all the litigation and everything is clear on this.
No other liabilities.
Okay. Just lastly on the Mulund land, so the Mulund is quite oversupplied market. We have seen some of the larger players still struggling to sell there. We see about 3-4, the project coming near completion, about 1/3 the project is sold till now. So what kind of differentiation you want to bring in this market so that you can do volumes? So in the first phase, how many million square feet you're looking to launch? So what will be a differentiation here so that you can get a better sales momentum in this market?
Now the Cosmos, that is the Mulund project, what happens is we've got 2 buildings called Siesta and Valenza. Siesta and Valenza, these are towers which have been partly sold. So our focus will be to take these 2 towers up, complete it, sell what is the remaining stock, and also hand over the stock to the existing customers. Now there's some 300 odd crores, maybe around 400 odd crores, which is collectible from the existing customers. Apart from this, there is a 36-month deadline for us to build that 800,000 square feet of office building for the COC. There is a second phase which will give us quite a lot of square footage, which is the most interesting and the best located, which is facing the hills and forests. We've already designed it, but we do not want to launch that just now. We'll keep that as a phase 2. What we will do is we'll complete these 2 towers, bring in the confidence in the market for the type of look, feel, quality that we have done, and then and only then we'll look at phase 2. But if there's a good response, we'll get the approval soon, and that's the only phase that we've not even applied for the approval. But the phase 1 approvals are in place, as well as for the commercial tower approvals are in place. This is where the construction will start. There'll be enough cash flow in the system, not only to complete these buildings, and also there'll be a lot of collection that will come from the existing customers. We don't need to either borrow. Maybe there'll be some seed money that we'll have put in a little bit to see that we fund the construction initially, but the rest of it will come from pre-sales and from the existing customers. That's our view on Mulund, and I'm quite positive about it.
And so this phase 1 areas, how much is sellable area?
Sir, would request you to rejoin.
Sellable areas, I think a little above 6 million for the whole project.
Phase 1, I was talking about phase 1, sir, which you are going to open now. The phase 1 which you are going to open now.
Which will open now? Which will open now will be around 3.6.
Okay. Thanks, one, sir. That's all from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhinav Sinha from Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Hi. So thanks for taking my question. So a couple of things. One, in Mumbai, now with 700 plus 370 for Cosmos spend, and you are referring to some development charges, etc. also paid. Is that total investment of close to 2,000 crores? Is that a fair number?
1,500 crores.
1,500 you would have put. Okay. And but this is enough for the launches, right? I mean, there is no significant number between today and say the October timeframe when we are looking for a launch.
Sorry, Abhinav, couldn't follow.
So between now and when we get the RERA certificate for these 3 projects, there is no significant investment required anymore. Is that correct? No? Okay.
No.
Okay. So secondly, you referred to Blackstone taking some stake, and maybe were you referring to you being in advance of a further sort of stake sale? And similar vein, is it possible that you will sell down some stake in the Mumbai commercial project beforehand?
No, we are not in talks with Blackstone on this.
Or with anyone else for the Mumbai one?
That's a great secret. So I can't spell out everything.
So generally, I mean, you guys were, I think way back in 2010, etc., you had also done a lot of these placements with Red Fort and stuff. So I'm just wondering if something like that is on the table in the next 12 months or.
Never is. Have an eye on the balance sheet, not increase the debt, make sure that we are, got enough elbow room. We always like to play with pre-sales, with equity, rather than getting more and more debt and getting stressed out. So the whole idea is to see that the ship sails safely and not get too over enthusiastic and taking debt, because today the bankers are willing to give me as much money as I want. But I have to know when to stop and what to take money for and what not to take money for.
Okay. I think I will take that as a yes, possibly, for this. And so finally, just your comments. I mean, initially you had remarked that even commercial was looking up now. Can you detail that a bit? Are we at the end of the rise in vacancy cycle? Are we seeing improvements in rentals, etc.? Thank you.
That's a nice question. Everybody is concerned how much office space to take up will happen. Now see, there's more business coming to this country, there's no doubt about it. If you've seen the results of the tech companies, it's just booming for them, and they are getting more and more work. So they can't be sitting at home and doing work. I think mostly it will be a sort of a hybrid version. But if you ask me straight, are there new leasing happening? Is there new demand? Are there new RFPs in the market? The answer is a big yes. We have signed some spaces in various projects. There is a good demand for new campuses also, and it's only a matter of time. Now, even wherever we had leased out some spaces where the tenant hadn't started their fit-outs, they've started their fit-outs. So I am pretty sure that there will be more and more demand coming in. As of today, yes, there is some softness, there is some even give up of space, but then the vacancy levels are not as much as there to worry us. And I am confident of this market as long as we have a good location, good product. The rentals also will not drop. They are rentals wherever they are, but we are looking at rentals going up, not dropping over a period of time, as long as they give a good location and a good product. So things are happening, and we are leasing, and I think we've leased out substantially even in these times. That gives us the confidence.
Okay, sir. Thanks and all the best.
Thanks, Abhinav.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Agarwal from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Most of the questions have been answered, so a couple of them from my side. On your residential portfolio, what will be your target pre-sales, let's say 3 years out? And what kind of contribution do you see non-Bangalore, so in particularly like Mumbai and NCR, to do? So I understand for FY22 that number is around 20% Mumbai. Do you see that number sustaining at 20%?
3 years from now, we look at 10,000 crores of pre-sales and non-Bangalore to contribute to 50%.
50%. Okay. And sir, my second question is, do we have any update on the Jijamata Nagar project? Any progress there in terms of, and when do we see a possible launch there?
Work underway. A lot of work that needs to be done before we clean up the site. So this will be most likely FY24 launch.
Okay. Okay. Sure, sir. Thanks a lot. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Praful Kumar from Diamond Asia. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. And congratulations for a great execution till now. And even we get extremely positive feedback about you warming up for launching in Mumbai. Two questions here. One is on capital allocation in terms of residential and commercial. So in case you see that commercial is still, the vacancy rates are not turning the corner, are you flexible to increase capital allocation towards residential side? That is the first question. And secondly, in terms of margins, as we have guided earlier, that as the mix changes, the margin profile shifts towards 23-25%. Just want to get your thoughts. Does the guidance stays, and when is the, when do you think the J curve starts hitting the P&L? Thank you.
As far as office is concerned, whatever we've committed, we are going to execute that. And I think there will be enough takers for it. See, now suddenly what happens is we always have to buck the trend in the sense that now it's honestly a different mob psychology. When somebody says office is not doing well, everybody will turn their projects into residential. When they say office is doing well, they'll convert their residential to office. But I think that's not the right way to work. What you need to do is every plot, every development has its relevance, and we need to know what to build where. I can't build residential in a BKC. I don't want to build residential in turf. In fact, many people came and told me, why are you doing this Mahalakshmi, that is at Liberty Towers? Why don't you come to residential? You'll get a better realization per square foot, blah, blah, blah. But by the time we change the plans, do everything, the market will be turned towards office again. So I think there has to be a focus on what product you want to do where, and that's how we've been operating, and that's how we've been successful. We will not go with the tide. In the sense, okay, there are sometimes, if you feel that there's too much supply coming in, best is to park, wait for the demand to come, and then continue with the construction. Like in Bangalore, we are doing one big tech park. We said, okay, let's build one building, and the rest of it, we'll do it at our pace. There's no pressure, because it's a land which has been bought out. So it's something that we need to strategize as we go along. And you rightly said, converting from one asset class to the other asset class in a location which may not lend itself to do that asset class is not the right way to do it. And I don't know what the second question of yours was.
But it was margins, the margin profile at
Margins are okay. Margins, I think we are focused on margins. Only thing is we are trying hard to bring in efficiency in the construction. At the same time, see that the price doesn't increase so high that the customer can't afford it. So we are trying to balance our need with our greed, and we are trying to see that the company gets its margins that it is required to get with all the risks that we take. At the same time, see that the product comes out nicely and there's efficiency in the system. We can even leave it for, you see, if you're a little slack, a lot of inefficiencies increase your cost. So we can't afford to have any inefficiencies. We have to have a focused approach. Like now on these two commercial projects, we felt that the best way to go about is to appoint a PMC, and we've now appointed JLL and CBRE as the PMC for the Liberty Towers and for BKC1. So they will be handling the whole thing, so they'll be managing, so teams are having workshops. So the whole focus is to see how A, the product is built well, B, within the timeline, and C, within the cost. So that's a challenge that keeps happening. You have efficient people working, you set certain budgets, I think things will fall within that.
That's great to know, sir. Finally, as global investors, we all are looking at some ESG framework coming from the management. Can we expect something on ESG over medium term to come through?
Yes, we just initiated the process. We will probably conclude it next 2 to 3 quarters.
Thank you, sir, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sameer Baisiwala from Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the follow-up. Just a couple of questions. One is on Mulund. I understand it's a 30-acre land parcel. So is this a completely clean, and clear land, or are there some slums or some other habitation which needs to be removed?
Sameer, see, this land is clear land. It's 33 acres. But yes, we do need to do some rehab in 2 different components, two separate parts of the property. And that is, one comes in the phase 2 and one is in the phase 1, which is near the commercial block. But where we are building just now, there's nothing on it. It's clean land and we can start construction. I mean, we've already started construction. Our previous developer had started. We have to continue that and deliver it.
Okay, great. And so the second question is on the ongoing commercial office block. So I think you've got your share is roughly 14.4 million square feet. So Venkat, I mean, how do we see the rental scale up as you go forward? And maybe in your appendix, maybe you can start adding the year of completion, if you may. So how do we see year 2, year 3 sort of rentals spike over there?
Well, I think we'll give you the guidance because the office total portfolio is now 2,500 crores, ongoing as well as upcoming. And the retail should give us 300 to 400 crores of rental income. So as suggested, we will start giving now, like the way we used to give earlier, estimated years of completion and projected rentals.
Yeah, that would be great. And one final question. Sir, what's the outlook on the residential pricing in Bangalore? I mean, we do hear that, in NCR, in Gurgaon, there have been some price increase, maybe a little bit in Bombay may happen. So any thoughts on Bangalore pricing going forward?
Our average realizations are around 6,700 rupees per square foot, which is also mixed of what we are offering. So if you ask us whether they have substantially gone up, answer is no. But they are in the range of that 6,250, 65, 66, 67. So that's the range in which they are operating, but nothing beyond 7,000 as far as mid-income is concerned.
And you don't plan to increase it over next, whatever foreseeable future?
No, unless there is a market. See, there's a difference. Samir, you know the way we work. So when we launch it, it's a particular pricing so that we get velocity, we get cash flows. But the same project towards the end of completion or after completion, if you look at, that will be substantially higher, maybe 30%, 35%. Like take a case of Song of South or Falcon City. We launched at 5.5. Now whatever the little that we hold, we are selling at 8.5.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Seth from Quest Investment. Please go ahead.
Sir, a small clarification. You said that we are expecting 6,500 crore kind of a pre-sales in FY22. That is our target, and out of which 20% we are expecting from Mumbai. So this is from all 4 projects that we are launching?
3 projects plus 1 NCR project. So that makes it 4. 3 in Mumbai, 1 in NCR. 4 put together, around 20%.
Okay. And 20% out of...
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you everyone for taking time out to be on our post-results conference call. It was a very interactive session. Thank you for the questions. It helps us also to introspect and directionally look at where we are heading, plan well. We as Prestige, like always, we are committed to deliver the guidances that we've been giving in the calls and working hard to ensure that the 2 new geographies that we are adding to our portfolio, will turn out to be like the way Hyderabad, Chennai, where we had increased our footprint and significantly going to add to our portfolio, be it in terms of residential, office, and retail. We believe that next 3 years are going to be very interesting and exciting times in real estate as a whole and specifically for Prestige Estates. Thank you once again.
Thank you again for all your insightful questions. We appreciate that, and we will take the feedback as we go along. The teams are working hard, and I am 100% sure they will deliver, and we'll be doing as we go along. Our numbers will keep increasing, and there is a focus on it. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Axis Capital Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.